More PR spin from Team Sussex. Duke and Duchess of Hypocrisy hit the town again. This time they went to Vancouver to watch a Canucks game. They did their best to act in love, but something tells us there is a little more to this story than meets the eye. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Predictably, after suffering a series of rejections lately from corporations and Harry's family alike, Meghan and Harry are pulling out all the stops to try to get some good publicity. And this time it was by showing up together to a Vancouver Canucks game where Harry threw the puck. Alright, so first of all, let's talk about what Meghan was wearing. Sometimes she tries to copy Catherine by wearing pieces that we could actually afford, but for this game, she couldn't be bothered with that. Instead, she wore an outfit costing approximately $157,000 according to the Mail Online. Now, maybe I just don't understand the world that Meghan lives in, but in my opinion, wearing an outfit that costs nearly $160,000 to a hockey game doesn't make a bit of sense. But for the Duchess of Hypocrisy, rubbing her wealth in other people's faces is what she does best. It's what she thrives on. So of course she had to pull out all the stops for this evening out with her prince. And one of the pieces that Meghan wore I found very interesting. She wore a Lorraine Schwartz Against Evil Eye bracelet that cost about $18,000, nearly $19,000 actually. It is interesting to me that she's trying to ward off evil when she is the embodiment of evil herself. I can only assume this was some type of dig at Meghan's critics because, according to her, we've got it all wrong. We just don't understand who she is as a person. She's actually a wonderful person. We've just misunderstood her. In the photos that accompany the article, you can see that Harry doesn't look miserable. He actually looks like he was pretty happy to be there. But the reason is pretty obvious. So Harry dropped the first puck at the NHL hockey game, just like the Queen did 2 decades ago. I don't think it's any coincidence that when Harry is doing pseudo-royal work, he actually looks pleased to be there. He looks happy. When he's being dragged along with Meghan to some concert, no, he looks miserable as usual. I know that he insists that he loves the celebrity lifestyle that Meghan Markle has forced him into, but looking at his face, it tells a different story. Another strange pattern I have noticed about when Meghan and Harry hit the town is that they're rarely ever out alone. This time, guess who was with them? None other than Marcus Anderson. According to the Mail, a friend of Meghan's from Toronto when she was filming Suits, who helped her organize her first date with Harry in London. Some interesting wording there, huh? Helped to organize her first date with Harry in London? More like pimped her out. Of course, the reason that Meghan and Harry were in Vancouver in the first place was because they're there trying to promote the next Invictus Games, which is set to be held in Vancouver and Whistler in February of 2025. And as the Mail Online is reporting, their visit came a week after a whistleblower told Mail Online that the Games is in turmoil, after 2 of its most senior executives were dismissed for no apparent reason with just over a year to go. And there we have it, that special Sussex touch. Everything they touch turns to crap. It is amazing, isn't it, how even something as wonderful as Invictus Games, which, look, I gotta hand it to Harry, it is a remarkable organization that has done a lot of good for people. But since Harry and Meghan have made it all about them, of course it's failing, of course it's in turmoil. After Meghan showed up at the last Invictus Games and pranced around like she was the star of the show, of course people don't want to support the organization anymore. This reverse Midas touch the 2 of them seem to have is something to see. At this point they seem to be going for a 100% failure rate. I don't know if anybody has accomplished that before. Of course, this visit comes right after Meghan showed up at that variety event to try to promote herself and her brand, whatever that is. She said at that event, "We have so many exciting things on the slate, I can't wait until we can announce them. But I'm just really proud of what we're creating. My husband is loving it too, which is really fun." So obviously, all these A-list appearances is just a PR game to pitch for lucrative work and create some new hype around Meghan and Harry. But is it going to work? I don't think so. How could it work? They're not new to Hollywood. They've been in the US now for what, nearly 4 years, and they still haven't made it? Chances are they're duds. Last week, Mail Online revealed that the CEO, Peter Lawless, a lawyer and arguably Canada's most respected Olympic and Paralympic administrator, left the job with Invictus abruptly. An insider is claiming that Mr. Lawless, who was awarded the Diamond Jubilee Medal by Harry's grandmother the Queen back in 2012, was fired, and morale amongst staff is now at an all-time low. An Invictus Game spokesperson declined to comment, of course, on whether or not he was fired. Instead, he said that he had been transitioned out and was no longer an employee, but will still be an ambassador. The insider who spoke with the Mail Online, the whistleblower, said CEO Peter Lawless and Chief Commercial Officer Bill Cooper were dismissed for no apparent reason. This is a significant setback with just over a year to deliver the games, which I'm told are well over budget, and no plan to close the gap even after securing $30 million in government support from the province of British Columbia and the Canadian federal government. While we don't know exactly what happened with Mr. Lawless, we've got a pretty good idea of who it may involve: Meghan and Harry. He was a man who knew how to do his job. Invictus was lucky to have him. But I guess he couldn't stand Harry and Meghan trying to take over the show. He was trying to make Invictus something to be proud of, but Meghan and Harry were just trying to make it all about them. Harry and Meghan are not known for taking criticism well, so I could easily believe that he stood up to Harry. He told Harry some things that they needed to change. Harry got offended, and that was that. And of course, it wasn't only Lawless who got sacked. Bill Cooper is also leaving the Vancouver Whistler team. He was in the role of Chief Commercial Officer for 10 months until in October he left. So when he was leaving, he said a thank you to his colleagues for their support, and several were praising his grace and accused Invictus 2025 of making a very big mistake by letting him go. A Games volunteer has said that the staff are concerned that these recent moves will again overshadow this incredible event for our veterans. Reportedly, people are also upset because they're thinking Meghan and Harry's security bill and other costs could put a strain on the finances for the Games if Invictus 2025 has to pay for everything. It is such a shame, isn't it? I mean, Invictus was the one thing that Harry was supposed to really care about, the one thing he was supposed to not screw up, and just look at what is happening. I also have a sneaking suspicion that Meghan may be part of the reason that these two men left. I mean, if left to his own devices, I kind of think that Harry would listen to the intelligent people who he hired to make the decisions. He would let them do their job and make the decisions. But see, Meghan won't take advice from anybody. She won't allow anybody else to make any decisions about anything. So that could be what's going on here. It could be that these men were just trying to do their jobs. They were trying to do what was best for the Games. But Meghan disagreed, and they stood up to her. And well, if anybody dares to disagree with Meghan Markle, they're going to incur her wrath, and it's not pretty. For a while there, it looked like Meghan was going to let Harry have Invictus, that she was going to allow him to have a project of his own, but now it seems like no, that's not going to happen. She's changed her mind. She's decided she has to control every single aspect of his existence. According to the Mail Online, Meghan chatted with members of the committee that will be organizing the Games to be held in Vancouver. That was when 2 months ago, Meghan and Harry turned on the charm at a reception thrown by the Canadian delegation to promote the 2025 Invictus Games. Turned on the charm. Well, unfortunately, Meghan Markle has no charm, so I'm not sure exactly what that means in that situation. I guess some awkward attempts at hugging and that fake smile plastered across her face were involved. Anyway, the people I feel really sorry for in this whole situation are the veterans. They're the ones who are going to lose out. If the board members of Invictus knew what was good for the organization, they would fire Harry and Meghan altogether. They wouldn't allow them to be close to the organization. But honestly, I'm not sure they can do that. I know that Harry has secured a lot of funding for the Games, and if they were to sack him, then maybe they would lose the funding. But anyway, it is tragic to see such an otherwise wonderful organization fall apart just because a couple of narcissists cannot keep their hands off of it. And you, what do you think of Meghan and Harry and the future of Invictus? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. I hope you'll like and share this video with anybody else who would enjoy it, and don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.